Welcome back to Stillwater. Time now to check in with our third partner in tonight's broadcast, Shane Sparks.
All right, Sean. Well, big momentum in their ground. It's Kansas State running back on kick to ignite this offense. In that win against Nevada last week, he ran for a career-high 127 yards, his fifth straight 100-yard performance, and he went over 1,000 yards in his career. His battery mate in the backfield, Joe Irvin, 80 yards rushing. Will Howard over 50. That trio, 4 rushing touchdowns combined. For Oklahoma State, Jalen Warren got his first start as a Cowboy, and he made the most of it. 218 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of those went for 75 yards. So both these defenses, they understand the challenge. That gritty, physical, tough football in the trenches. It might not be pretty, but it very likely could be the path to victory tonight.
No doubt about it, an amped-up house here in Stillwater.
I'm amped up. Let's go.
The 68th meeting, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and we are underway under the lights on an absolutely gorgeous night. On the return, it is Malik Knowles struggling his way out past the 15. Good special teams coverage for the Cowboys. Skylar Thompson injured earlier this year. In steps Will Howard. It's almost like deja vu for the Wildcats. A replication of what happened last year. Howard, the 19-year-old, making his 9th career start. 3-5 as a starter. A very efficient performance last week against Nevada.
Yeah, very efficient, right? Did what he was asked to do. They ran the football. He managed. He threw a big play for a touchdown early in the game that set the tone, and he's got to be much of the same tonight.
Diamond formation, 3 backs. Howard is going to throw. They give some room on the space and a quick throw and catch to Knowles up at the 25. Fighting hard after the catch. 3 Cowboys around him, led by Jarek Bernard at Converse.
Sean, they're going to ask Will Howard to be more than what he's used to doing. I know that Oklahoma State's going to load the box, try to stop this great running attack, and make him throw the ball and ultimately be the guy that beats them tonight.
Howard came off the bench against Southern Illinois back in week 2 when Thompson went down, a real bizarre non-contact play. Good gain on first down. They will give it to Deuce Vaughn for the first time, and he falls ahead. Should have enough for the first down. Tripped up by Jabbar Muhammad.
For whatever reason, Kansas State has always been able to generate these miniature running backs that are absolutely dominating. And Deuce Vaughn's another example of that. From the young sophomore from Round Rock, Texas, right? 5'6", 175 pounds.
Chris Kleiman in his 3rd year after a tough season a year ago has Kansas State fans believing again. First down, they fake the jet sweep to Brooks, and a big hole opens up for Howard, and he's in a foot race to the 40, escorted out of bounds at the 35.
Incredible job, Will Howard here, just running the run pass here. Watch the guy swing across the formation, and you know you got man coverage, and if he get past the line of scrimmage, he's off to the races. Sure enough, he does. Jason Taylor has to run him down. Got good speed for the 6'4" quarterback. The referee took a little blow there on the sideline as well.
How about the pancake block delivered by Cooper Beebe, the left tackle? They love this left side. Howard wants to take a shot. He's looking for Knowles in the end zone. Knocked away, incomplete.
Good play call, great throw. It just so happened this direction, the sunshine is directly in that spot. So if Malik Knowles, when he looks up, his eyes were directly in the sun. Couldn't see it. Jarek Bernard Converse right there to get his hand up and knock it away.
Bernard Converse, over 160 career tackles, making his 37th consecutive start tonight. Howard is going to throw for the 3rd time on this opening drive. Has plenty of time to pick and choose. And a first down grab by Landry Weber. Jason Taylor, the safety, in there for the injured Trey Sterling, making the stop.
We talked about the physical nature in the open. Watch as he has all day back there to survey and find his guy. Good job by Weber of finding a spot out there and then framing himself up to the quarterback to be ready for the first down throw.
Are you surprised at how Courtney Messingham, the offensive coordinator, has scripted up this start for Kansas State?
A little bit, but you know what? After watching the film, I just felt like Will Howard had an opportunity to do something through the passing game.
Again, flag flies for the first time as they give it to Vaughn, his second touch. Not much over the right side. Tyler Lacey, the tackle.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
Vandervelde, our referee, and the game's first infraction goes against the purple of K-State.
Tough time to have it, especially getting down near the red zone. Luckily, it's on first down. Anytime you run in motion, sometimes a guy has to step up to the line of scrimmage or step off to get the appropriate men up there. That time, clearly didn't get it done.
Keenan Garber, Cade Warner, a couple of new receivers check in after the penalty, 1st and 15. Oklahoma State will bring a delayed blitz, picked up beautifully. Another shot to the end zone. Receiver has a step. That's Garber, and it's knocked away at the last second. Again, they're going after Bernard Converse early on in this drive.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a bit of confusion because both wide receivers for Kansas State are in the same area. It was 4 verticals, and the ball was poorly thrown to the inside, so both receivers, Phillip Brooks as well as Keenan Garber, kind of came together, made it easy for the defense to knock that one away.
Yeah, both those guys can flat out fly. Brooks was the all Big 12 kickoff returner, punt returner a year ago. Just phenomenal on special teams. Again, they bring a blitz off the edge. This is Urban shaking free from the initial defender. Gets back close to the original line of scrimmage. And young Will Howard looking at his first 3rd down on this drive.
Yeah, 3rd and long. Good play call there. They had the numbers to run with only 5 in the box and bringing somebody off the left edge. Gives them a shot to get possibly a first down, but don't take too much of a risk here because you can come away with points. I think points are going to be at a premium tonight.
This is one of the best defenses in the country at getting after the quarterback. 3rd and 10. Howard hit as he throws near the sticks. It's caught, but it's going to be short. Bernard Converse with the tackle about a yard shy of the first down. And an early decision to be made for Chris Kleiman and company.
This is a wonderful job of him being accurate with this throw right into the sunshine there. Puts it right on his body, but a great tackle to stop him before the first down marker. Sets up this 4th down, and of course, Coach Kleiman with his physical up front offensive line elects to go for it.
Wheeler in motion, they give it to Vaughn, and the all Big 12 performer from a year ago should have enough. Malcolm Rodriguez, one of the top linebackers in the conference. And this will all be dependent on the spot as they look over and they say first down. Kansas State now 3 for 3 on 4th downs this year.
Sean, it's so difficult to watch a very physical football team like Kansas State then on 4th down take the snap in shotgun because you're back there so far and your running back has to go 6 yards to get the half yard for the first down.
And you better be able to sustain your blocks up front with that shotgun look. They were on that particular play. First down inside the red zone where they have been lethal. Little slant over the middle, knocked away beautifully by Bernard Converse. Already a couple of pass breakups for Jarek Bernard Converse.
Yeah, they're going after him. Good play fake, brings that linebacker down, and Bernard Converse just extends that right arm, keeps it away from Cade Warner, the transfer from Nebraska.
This will be the 11th play of this opening drive, and they will give it to Knowles on the jet sweep. Hit initially in the backfield, and he scrapes up back to the line of scrimmage. Colin Oliver, the true freshman. Get used to hearing that. You're going to hear a lot of true freshmen in there for Oklahoma State tonight.
They are young, but as Coach Gundy told us this week, they are energized, right? They like to play football, and they're enjoying every minute of it. They just got to trust their eyes and do what they see that's in front of them so they don't make some costly mistakes for the young football minds.
Howell and Brooks are to the left. They put Brooks in motion. Malik Knowles to the right. Here comes an all-out blitz, and Howard forced to get rid of it. He took a pop, and Kansas State will have to settle for 3.
Watch as Jim Knowles just brings the house from distance, too. There's nothing you can do right there when you're waiting for man-to-man routes going across the field. There's got to be a sight adjustment there at some point for a wide receiver.
Tatum Winkle to attempt the 32-yard field goal. Placement down, kick on the way, plenty of leg, and it is good. A very impressive start for Kansas State. 13 plays, 68 yards. Winkle with a field goal. Wildcats fire the opening salvo. Kansas State threw the football 13 times last week in the win against Nevada. Chris Kleiman told us he knew that was not a realistic number. Now the Big 12 play is here. Will Howard 3 of 7, Ryan, on that opening drive. Yeah,
more than half of the plays run on the first drive in the passing game. Coach saw something on film this week and also had an understanding. A week ago he was going against Carson Strong, a guy that was going to need to be off the field as much as they could. Maybe not as interested or fearful of Spencer Sanders and what this offense has been able to do so far this season.
Brennan Presley awaiting the kick, so let's see what the Cowboys do in response. Down 3-0. Zentner with the end-overing kick, and this will reach the end zone for the touchback. Spencer Sanders, 6'1", 210-pounder out of Denton, Texas. This is his 3rd game this year. He missed the season opener against Missouri State because of COVID protocol. His 82 yards passing last week on the blue turf in Boise, the fewest in his career besides the Tulsa game last year, where he played only 2 series.
Some good news, Tay Martin is out there to start the first series, the longtime Washington State wide receiver.
It's like they want to set up a screen to Jalen Warren, and he has all sorts of pasture. Warren picking up where he left off last week in the Pacific Northwest. Finally tripped up at the 22. 53 yards. Beautiful play call to start.
Wonderful play call. And you know what? Josh Sills, the big left guard, is the guy that sets this apart. He just absolutely pancakes a Kansas State defender that set Warren loose for the big gainer on first down.
Warren coming off just a monster game last week. He ran for a career-high 218 yards, including a 75-yard burst. He has brought the big play element to Stillwater. They move the pocket for Sanders. He dumps it underneath. He was forced to get rid of it quickly. He heard the footsteps and paid the price. That was Ryan Hennington who came in.
Yeah, 2 guys in the same vicinity and kind of got confused and held onto the ball probably a little longer than he needed to. And sure enough, Kansas State was able to get to him and force him to throw an inaccurate pass.
Second down, and Sanders tripped out of the gate, somehow maintains his balance, and somehow picks up positive yardage as he tiptoes near the first down marker.
Tripped up a little bit coming out. Watch, he trips over his running back's foot, keeps his feet. He's got an open receiver in the end zone, but he's rolling to his left, and that's extremely hard for a right-handed quarterback to turn your shoulders, get what you can, get out of bounds.
So just like that, Oklahoma State inside the red zone. They will go with their first traditional running play, and a flag flies. Warren was reached low. Fletcher grabbed his ankle.
Before he grabbed his ankle, it looked like he grabbed his face mask on his way down.
Personal foul, face mask, number 55, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Cody Fletcher, the senior, as we take another look.
Just reaches that hand out, slightly grabs the face mask. Didn't hold on to it, but it was enough to get the penalty and set up a first and goal there just inside the 6-yard line.
We saw Kansas State have to settle for 3. Does Oklahoma State have bigger plans? First down and goal. Sanders on a flush right, rolls, and he will throw it away. Nobody open.
Wonderful job by Kansas State of identifying the play. Saw it was play action and stayed with the wide receivers. No one was open. Spencer Sanders had to just dump it away. Live to fight another day here inside the red zone.
Sanders coming off a real solid sophomore year. Finished the season strong. In fact, second in the Big 12. Around 8.5 yards per attempt. Second down, they will go to Warren over the right side as he tries to slide his way in. And will bring up a third down goal for second-year offensive coordinator Casey Dunn.
He's been really innovative with some of the guys he's used down here, in particular fullbacks, tight end types, using his ability to run pass option. I would put Spencer Sanders somewhere in a decision-making process of whether to run or pass.
Third down and goal. It will be a keeper, and he will waltz and hop skip his way for 6. Touchdown. The Cowboys respond.
Incredibly difficult when you remove the quarterback from the discussion in terms of not having to identify, right? You have an extra blocker essentially, and there you go. Somebody kicked out the end. Spencer walks, skips, as you said, into the end zone.
All set up by the screenplay on the very first play for Oklahoma State. Ripped off 52 yards to Jalen Warren. Sanders with the rushing touchdown. Hale adds the point after. The type of start Stillwater was hoping for tonight. Oklahoma State response. The touchdown run by Sanders. All fired up on a Saturday night in Stillwater. Spencer Sanders with his second rushing touchdown this season. Oklahoma State on their opening drive. They take it down the field. Made it look easy. 7 plays, 75 yards, more than 2 minutes off the game clock, and a 7-3 lead for the Cowboys.
Looks like there's a couple evenly matched teams out there, and like how we saw it, may come down ultimately to the quarterback with the most experience. Spencer Sanders certainly the one in that regards.
Knowles near his goal line. Malik Knowles, a little bit of a seam, and now he's into the open. Stiff arms the kicker. One man to beat. Knowles, 99 yards. Touchdown, Kansas State. Oh, my.
What an absolute answer. We've watched them make changes to the kicking game, and a lot of these kickers can boot it out of the end zone, but when you don't, and you got explosive players like this, Malik Knowles catches it at the 1 and then absolutely gets 1 or 2 blocks to set him free, and then he stiff arms his way to 6 to take the lead here at Stillwater.
Well, remember how we were talking? It might be low scoring. Welcome to the Big 12. You never know.
Now, like I said, you know, and making changes to the spot where you kick off. A lot of kickers can get it through the end zone. Here it's left short. Malik Knowles picks it up, gets a couple good blocks here. Now watch him as he turns the Jets on and absolutely stiff arms the kicker. He gets help from Hennington here as a final block, and Malik Knowles just walks into the end zone to put the Wildcats up early. This is, I mean, that's some swift footwork right there. What a start to Big 12 play here with two of the better teams, both undefeated here. One team's going to walk out of here with their first loss, and neither one of them wants them to be them.
Kansas State has been really good on special teams over the past 15 years. And take a look at the numbers that they have put up between the punt return game and the kickoff return game. And it really is a critical component, whether it was Bill Snyder or now Chris Kleiman, for the success that they've enjoyed throughout the years.
A lot of guys named Sproles, Lockett, and
that always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Oklahoma State can do as they take it out past the 25 up to the 27-yard line with Brennan Presley. By the way, that kick return for K-State, Joshua Youngblood returned one 93 yards 2 years ago. That's their first kickoff return for 6 since that long return by Youngblood. Oklahoma State really did a nice job mixing it up on their first drive.
Well, they started it well. You wouldn't expect a screen pass on the first play of the game. You utilize Kansas State's anxiety and ready to play, and got them caught. Sure enough, Spencer Sanders skips into the end zone for their first touchdown of the night.
Change of direction by Warren as he is snowed under at the 30, 3, maybe 4 yards. Spencer Trussell in there at the defensive end position. This is a key area for Kansas State. Khalid Duke is out for the year. He was one of their top rush-ins, so you'll see a combination of Trussell, Nate Matlack, and Bronson Mancy opposite Felix Anudike Uzama.
Uzama is kind of built in the image of Duke, and he's really helped him along since being injured.
Second down, trying to bounce it to the outside. Really good vision there by Warren. Sets up a very manageable third down.
Both of these offensive lines have had to really pick up the slack because of the injuries we talked about before the broadcast. Protecting the quarterback as well as opening up holes and making it easier.
Third and short, they will get Tay Martin his first touch. He is back healthy, and a first down as flags fly. Hands up around the helmet area along the Kansas State sideline. Boy, they needed Martin to make his return, the transfer from Washington State.
Yeah, he was incredibly impressive at my alma mater with 143 catches in his 3 years there at Washington State.
Personal foul, face mask, number 2. Defense, 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
The Louisville transfer, Russ Yeast, getting a hand up high on Tay Martin.
Those are a second personal foul penalty. Now, you don't take those into account too much when it's in the action of a play, just like holding or anything like that. But you've got to be more disciplined and keep those hands away from the helmet.
On first down, Sanders, a play fake, has a couple of choices. He goes right back to Martin, and a first down. Beat Julius Brents 15 yards, and Oklahoma State right back at it.
When you got a guy that's 6'3", you're able to throw in a bunch of different areas with that catch radius.
Going up tempo as they will hand it to Warren over the left side. He spins his way into the pile. He talked about this offensive line for Oklahoma State. They really feel they have their 5 guys. For the second straight game, this is the first time they've had the same 5, so they're all about building repetition and getting in sync up front.
Yeah, Coach Gundy really talked about how solidified he felt they were because, you know, he was honest with us. He said, you know, week 1 we were soft. We had to become more physical, and that's helped with the solidification of this offensive line, and they push around this defensive line all night long. It could be a long night.
Getting Hunter Woodward back was huge for them. Woodward, the huge right guard. Got a lot of space to work there as Sanders is tripped up, setting up a third down. Wayne Jones coming in on that last tackle. What do you like here? Inside 4 minutes, first quarter, your line's playing well. A lot of choices.
Yeah, interesting formation here. 4 down into the boundary. You're going to go one-on-one with Tay Martin over the top.
In the seam, making the catch near the goal line, bouncing around, still on his feet, willing his way near the goal line. No indication.
Stadium believes they scored.
I never saw the indication of 6. But they're going to go 6.
Watch this as he goes to his right and then just allows the 2 crossers over the top, layers in the routes. And Presley's able to sneak his way in here, lands on the defender and rolls into the end zone for the touchdown. Watch as he lands on his defender and he rolls over without having touched the ground for the touchdown.
Went right over the top of Wayne Jones. Effort by Brennan Presley.
That was a very interesting formation. We're going to have to go back and look at that so we can show you at home exactly how Casey Dunn made that work.
7 plays, 73 yards. Sanders with the touchdown pass. A sophomore from Tulsa. And there are certainly plenty of fireworks tonight. Second and third effort by Presley as he bangs his way in. Oklahoma State back out in front.
Welcome back to Stillwater. Here's the perfect example of what I consider flooding the zone. Look at, you have 4 into the boundary, and as they go across the football field into that zone, somebody's going to have to come open. Sure enough, the guy's second in his progressions right there. He puts it right on the money, and Presley does the rest. Finds a way to get into the end zone, and what a great answer to the kickoff for a touchdown by Kansas State.
Oklahoma State has had it twice. They have scored on both possessions. Kansas State has had it twice, once on special teams, and this man right here was feeling a little lucky, and then he was rocked. That's Dominic Richardson, running back, flying downfield, and not that time for Malik Knowles.
You watched him hesitate just a second. They're like, hey, I'm pretty darn good. I just took it to the house a minute ago. Hey, why not press my luck here? Let's run it roll one more time.
Well, you know, you have the big play capability. If you're Kansas State, you trust Malik Knowles. That time, not the wisest decision.
And the offense has been on the sideline for a bit of time. Will Howard now has got to go back to work in his own territory, backed up against the goal line.
Joe Urban is the running back, and the ball is dropped. It's still loose. It's rolling in the end zone. Touchdown, Cowboys, as they pounce it. Malcolm Rodriguez ended up with the slippery leather.
Can't emphasize that enough. You cannot make mistakes like that in your own shadows of your own goalpost. And sure enough, Will Howard there mishandles the snap, and Oklahoma State's all over. Watch this here. Just a hard snap. Doesn't get on the ball, and anything that's shaped like a football is, it's not going to bounce like you're going to think it is. And Oklahoma State's right there, not only to get the ball, but turn it into 6 and put them up 20-10.
Their 5th takeaway this year. Chris Kleiman can't believe it. In this first quarter, Oklahoma State has put up 20. So we're seeing everybody get in the act. The offense is moving the ball, special teams, and now the defense.
You know, Coach Gundy talked about what it was like coming back from Boise after only putting up 21 points in the entire game a week ago. Feeling good about what they were able to accomplish, though. They got back at 4 in the morning. They gave the guys the day off, let them kind of recuperate, and then said they had a heck of a week of practice on all phases, just like you talked about, offense, defense, special teams, and now all of them have contributed already here in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's always a difficult journey back, different time zone, late game, like it was Saturday night. But Gundy has been around. Look at the job he has done here in Stillwater, year number 17. The longest tenured coaches in college football, and brought consistency to this program. 15 consecutive bowl appearances, 15 straight winning campaigns.
And, you know, we talked about this week, too. Will Howard was a true freshman a year ago, right? Didn't play in front of anybody. This place is wild tonight. It's rocking.
You can bet Brooks will take a knee. And now this place is really lit up.
That's what you call a troll job right there by the crowd, and egging him on to take it out of the end zone, put him in a precarious position like they did on the last drive. All right, if you're Will Howard here, you simply have to respond, right? Be like a goldfish, Ted Lasso says. Forget it, and let's move forward.
What a wild first quarter. Kansas State will try to bring stability back with Deuce Vaughn. Vaughn cracks his way up to the 32, a gain of 7.
Now that's what this team's about too, you know, Sean. Their ability to deal with adversity. They've overcame it all year long in terms of injuries, and then they fight back with what they're really good at, and that is a offensive line that can move people around and simply run the football.
Howard to throw. Here comes the heat. He'll let her fly. Knowles has a step, and it is in and out of his lap. Incomplete. Pretty good throw, but Corey Black, the young sophomore from Waco, got a hand in.
Couple of fours there running down a ball. Will Howard just underthrows it a bit. A guy in his face. Just enough to get his hand in there and knock it away at the last minute. He's been pretty darn good in terms of where he's throwing the ball, but if he could just get a little more on it and let his receivers to go get it, it would be a different story.
Like you said, couldn't quite step into that throw. Big third down, even though it's early in this first quarter, and they will move the chains. Little drag pattern. Brooks can run, and he will take it up to the 46-yard line of Oklahoma State.
A wonderfully designed play here. If you recall, all first quarter on their first drive, they ran a ton of crossing routes. Right there, they pretended to run a crossing route, planted his foot in the ground, Brooks did, came back out, and the defense just over-pursued. What a big play. Also, when you're 5'7", 167 pounds, you may get lost out there in front of those monsters.
Yeah, he was a walk-on to Manhattan. Actually had to earn his scholarship when Kleiman took over, and he was able to earn it pretty quickly. He has been a playmaker for K-State the past couple of years. Keenan Garber running to the boundary side, doesn't have a lot of space to work. Shane, this offensive line for Kansas State, they want to certainly impose their will up front, and they have the guys to do it.
Yeah, they do, Sean, and you can't put a price tag on the experience. It's hard to believe that heading into last season, combined starts on the offensive line, 0. They all came back here in 2021. It's become a strength of their team. Was talking to left tackle Cooper Beebe, and he said for him, it was a confidence issue, just feeling like he belonged. They've been good so far through 3 games. Sean?
Yeah, 5 straight games. They've rushed for over 200 yards. Not this time, though. Torpedoing in, taking down Howard low. Via TFL, Brock Martin has just simply been a monster this season from his defensive end position. And here's this offensive line, and that left side, as Shane talked about with Cooper Beebe and Josh Rivas, that's the side they favor.
Yeah, that's a lot of beef along the front line there, paving the path. What happened there, Brock Martin simply just dove in when they were trying to go side to side. If they continue to go north and south, it's where their offensive line does damage.
Need to get it to the 36. Nice pocket forms, but Howard throws it too tall. He was looking for Tyrone Howell. Not a lot of room there. Muhammad had the tight blanket coverage, and we will get our first punt of the night.
No, you can't get into predictable third downs, and that I mean passing situations where you can just flat out rush the passer, and Will Howard there had to either throw that perfectly to his wide receiver on the out route or air mail it out and live to fight another day. But with this offense by Oklahoma State, you can't afford to give up too many possessions.
Zentner sends an end over end kick. Presley with the fair catch. Nice job by the senior from Topeka, Ty Zentner, as he pins Oklahoma State deep. Just 33 seconds remaining, and finally a chance to take a collective sigh here. It has been wild in the opening 14 minutes.
You blinked at all, you've missed something, because both of these teams have been explosive with some explosive plays. Oklahoma State with a few more so far.
Sanders 4 of 6 for 98 yards in this opening quarter. They will hand the ball off, and look at the hole at the point of attack for Warren. A double-digit yard gallop by Jalen Warren out to the 29. He wasn't touched until he was into the secondary.
They push and push and push, and that allows a cutback. And Warren was great with that a week ago when he broke off that 75-yard touchdown. That looked very similar in terms of what the hole looked like that he broke through.
Oklahoma State is going to be content with their body of work, and so will this loud crowd inside Boone Pickens Stadium. Fresh off a late win last weekend, all the way in Boise, the Cowboys have showed up. They're happy to be back home. Sanders with a touchdown, Knowles the long kick return, but it's all Oklahoma State after one. Both of these teams felt really good heading into this Big 12 opener tonight. The body of work through the non-conference portion. Kansas State a dominant win against Stanford, and then they took care of business last week against Nevada. While for Oklahoma State, 3 wins spanning over 13 points, but they've put up 21 here in the first 15 minutes. As we welcome you back to Stillwater, and Sanders has been on tonight. Throw and strike. They beat Brents. That is Blaine Green with his first catch in his Cowboy career.
Wonderfully designed once again. They just got a 3-high look, which means that they're playing a third of each part of the field. And when you have that, you have these gaps in the zone, and Blaine Green found that. Spencer Sanders put it right on him quickly.
Green's been banged up, been injured. He traveled to Boise. He went through the warm-ups last week, but never stepped on the field. Meanwhile, Tay Martin has been active, his 3rd catch in this first half. So really no surprise, Sanders starting to get some of his weapons back, and you see what he can do, the battle-tested veteran for the Cowboys.
And Coach Gundy told us about how calm and cool and collected he's been losing these wide receivers. Never blamed anybody, never talked back about how he didn't have guys to throw to. He just found ways to get it done.
Martin, so elusive after catch, that time brought down by Spencer Trussell. Yeah, what did Gundy describe him as? A Tasmanian devil, one of those energy bundles, and he's really calmed down as he has matured in his time here in Stillwater.
Well, you need to, because you ultimately realize as a quarterback that attitude reflects leadership. It really does, and it trickles down through the team. And you can get them energized by doing many different things on the football field. One of them as a quarterback is kind of staying even-keeled but still being energetic.
First down, and Warren, explosive cut. Ryan Hennington might have just saved a touchdown. He stuck his left hand out there and grabbed his shoelace. Otherwise, Warren might be running.
Boy, he really can pick him up and put him down quickly. Right in the hole, he stutters just enough, gets away from a defender.
I love how Oklahoma State can go fast. They really mix up their speeds, and when they feel they have the defense reeling a little bit, Gundy and Casey Dunn are not afraid to step on the gas.
Yeah, that's a lot of offenses feel that way. When they get a first down, they want to roll, they want to go.
Third and short. We use the body of Sanders as he follows the Miami, Ohio transfer Atlevsky, and that will move the chains.
Don't forget, this drive started at the 10-yard line after Kansas State was forced to punt. And you and I talked about whether or not they find a way to stop them, because this thing could get out of hand in a hurry the way the Cowboys are putting things together.
And this is not an offense designed to come from behind here for Kansas State. Play fake. Sanders has the screen. Warren has the catch. Couple of blockers. Spins to the 10. Spins again. And finally he is tracked down. This guy is special. For the second straight week, Jaylen Warren putting on a show.
When you got an aggressive defensive front that's going to come after the quarterback, you let them. Then you utilize the big men up front just to get in front of people, and Warren does the rest.
Here they go, ready to go, and there is Daniel Green. Hello, the leader of the Wildcats, trying to wake up his buddies.
6'3", 234-pound junior from Portland, Oregon. Made his way to Middle America and made his way into the backfield of Oklahoma State there.
Let's see if that sends a jolt down this Kansas State defense.
Watch him and just explode. Josh Sills can't get a hand on him, and Daniel Green does the rest.
Dominic Richardson into the game for the first time. He will get his first touch as he falls to the 6. So here they are, again, in a part of the field where you have a running quarterback like Sanders and a wide open playbook with that play fake.
This makes it incredibly difficult as a defensive coordinator simply because of the numbers. When you got a guy that can become your running back, essentially add that extra blocker like we talked about, you have to be spot on with your keys and make sure tackles.
Cassidy, the H-back. They're going to put that loft on the throw toward the corner. Breadbasket throw. Tay Martin. Touchdown.
Not a huge fan of the fade here down on the end zone, but watch this. Watch how Tay Martin sets him up. Goes inside, then pushes off just enough, and the pass is perfect on the outside shoulder. No matter what there, Sean, the defender can do nothing when that ball is put in that spot. And they practice that every single day, executed to perfection to really put this Cowboys team up big early.
The Oklahoma State offense has not been stopped in this first half. Mike Gundy has the Cowboys rolling here at home, in particular his quarterback, Spencer Sanders. A couple of touchdown passes. Look at the touch. Yeah, the junior loves having Martin from the Northwest. Tay Martin and the Cowboys rolling. Mike Gundy has watched his Cowboys jump out to a 28-10 lead. Malik Knowles for Kansas State had the 99-yard kick return, but since that moment, 21 unanswered rattled off by the Cowboys. Two-time All-Big 12 selection Malcolm Rodriguez jumping on the loose ball. Then how about the first half from Spencer Sanders? The 2 touchdown passes. He's added a rushing score as well. Kansas State on the road in some trouble, but lots of football. No panic. You know this Wildcat team, battle tested, but you got to believe they're going to go to Deuce Vaughn here and give him a steady dose of touches.
You better get back to what you do well and establish something. Go on a drive, because you got to keep that defense off the field. They simply have to be worn down. You got the 300-pounders up front just leaning on you as they run then they let you go by and throw a screen behind it. Spencer Sanders has been great. They cannot afford to have a quick series here and get off the field.
Kansas State has made a change at quarterback just like they did last week. Jaron Lewis, sophomore from Columbia, Missouri.
He gave him a bit of a spark when he did come in last week, too.
Yeah, he certainly did, but as expected, here is number 22 in action, Deuce Vaughn.
5 consecutive games for him with 100-plus rushing yards. And need to have that. Only 10 yards rushing in the first quarter for him.
We go back to Lewis last week, 2 of 3 for the 6 yards. Did a good job, as Ryan described, just running the offense, making sure players were in the right spot. Has a good arm, threw for over 2,800 yards his senior year at Battle High School. Second down give, and this is Vaughn with just his 5th touch in this first half, and it will be 3rd and 3.
You know, Coach Kleiman commented on why he does this, right? They have it planned that Lewis is going to come in the game, and he actually made a comment about how playing both quarterbacks has settled Will Howard down, actually, making him understand that he isn't responsible for everything out there. He's got to let his players help support him in the effort.
Third downs have not been kind to Kansas State, just 1 of 4. Will Lewis throw it for the first time? Oklahoma State does not think so. Kansas State will hand it to Vaughn, and it's 3 and out.
That's the worst possible thing this offense could do here, was to go 3 and out. I don't mind the play calling because that's what they're good at, but they had to get down in the dirt there and get a first down somehow.
Colin Oliver, the second time we have called his name in this first half, the talented freshman from nearby Oklahoma City. Brock Martin during media days was talking about Oliver, thinking he might be an All-American someday, and has a world of talent. Here's a field position changer uncorked by Zentner.
Great punt.
58 yards for Zentner. Something positive for Kansas State. In some trouble on the road.
Tay Martin, wide receiver, a big part of this Cowboys offense. There's a touchdown, great touch there from Spencer Sanders. For Tay Martin, he came into the season committed. He realized football was important. And Coach Gundy told us the turning point was when he brought up his 3-year-old daughter. And he told Martin someday she's going to ask you questions about why things happened the way they did. And Coach Gundy flat out told him, I don't think you have a good answer for her, but rather a disappointing one. Martin really took that to heart, and he has turned things around. And as you can see, when he is on the field with this Oklahoma State offense, he is a difference maker. Sean?
Yeah, certainly so, Shane, making the return to try to get closer to Louisiana, where he was originally from. And what a career, and now the proud father. Just a special moment for him, and fully healthy in this one, most importantly for Oklahoma State. And the Cowboys just want it right now. They have an extra pep in their step. Jaylen Warren, another double-digit barrage over the right side.
All gas, no break right now for this Oklahoma State offense.
13 yards on first down. Now Sanders will keep it. No play to be made, so he wisely steps out of bounds. Trussell shadowing him every step of the way.
You know, there's something about getting into conference play too, Sean, right? Like just needing a stalking horse. So, some competition right there. You know, the non-conference is one thing, but this is about conference supremacy. And Oklahoma State is venturing to be that team this year.
Yeah, that's when the real season starts. And there was some concern. They had a tight win against Missouri State, an FCS program, and then Tulsa battled them to the end. And last week, that's a good win on the road. Anytime you go to Boise and come away with a W, you did something right.
You did. You also got a little lucky when the opposing team's kicker, flat out misses a game winner too. So there's got to be luck involved in some of this, because they've had to deal with some tremendous injury problems tonight. They get a lot of that back, and Spencer Sanders really feels comfortable right now.
They go empty set. Sanders will whip it toward the 40, and it's caught. Tumbling catch made despite the tight coverage. What a grab by Rashad Owens.
Wow. These wide receivers are absolutely catching everything. There's a confidence in all of them right now. The ball thrown way behind him on his back hip. Owens reaches out and still grabs it and pulls it in.
Trend continues. They speed up to the line after a first down. Sanders has been really good on first down tonight. He stays that way. Martin goes up high. He elevates. Sanders now 6 of 8 on first down throws.
There's nothing you could do with that. If you're going to stay behind Tay Martin, Spencer Sanders has enough confidence in their relationship right now just to throw it up, because that ball was incredibly highly thrown, but he goes up, high points it, picks up another big first down. They're just churning them out. They didn't even get to third down. They're, what are they, 3 for 3 on the night? They don't even have to get the third down.
6 catches for Martin in his return to this lineup. Design draw all the way, and Daniel Green again brings a punishing hit to the quarterback. I guarantee you, Casey Dunn, Mike Gundy don't want to see too many of those collisions.
You wonder if that was a called play. It looked like it was, because it looked like he had a lead blocker, but wow. Your man back there is dicing this team up with precision, right? So you don't want to be hurt here. Yeah, he's got a blocker. Yep, and 7 there, so definitely a called play. He's kind of a little shaken up, I think, here.
Injuries have been an issue, and it's his style of football. That's what makes him a good collegiate quarterback, and you can read his lips there, I'm good, as he comes over to the Oklahoma State sideline, and they're going to take a look upstairs to see possibly if this falls into the realm of targeting. Daniel Green's already been hit once this year in the Stanford game, and it would go from bad to worse really quickly if they discover targeting here for this K-State defense.
He's not a defenseless player, so therefore there has to be an indicator, okay? And here it is. Watch where his head is. Watch where his eyes are. His eyes go down. The crown of his helmet goes up against Spencer Sanders' helmet. Unfortunately, right now, this continues to be the rule. If his eyes were up and he was seeing what he was hitting there, I don't believe this would be considered targeting, but I think it's going to be called that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, there's a lot of frustration in college football, but the rules are the rules right now, and until they get changed, plays like this could fall into the category.
And this is going to be devastating. You made the point. They're down 28-10. You lose your best defensive player for the rest of the game. We saw this on College Game Day today. I don't know if you saw the piece they did. They brought in the official. They talked about it. Kirk Herbstreit had the clicker and went through some plays to kind of showcase, like, why was this happening? And to the official's point, he says, right there, his head's not up. He's not seeing what he's hitting. And you had David Pollock there next to him, who ended his career essentially because he hit somebody with his head down, had a fracture in his neck because of it. It's to protect the player making the tackle. And so therefore, I believe that they're going to ultimately call this targeting. It's always hard too when the runner goes down.
When they lower their leverage.
Right, they lower their leverage. They're not in the same spot that Daniel Green was launching to make the tackle.
After reviewing the play, number 22 commits a foul for targeting with the crown of the helmet. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down. Number 22 is disqualified.
It's incredibly punitive, Sean. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I can understand, and I think you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago about where you can go, where you have tier 1 or tier 2, or like the NBA does. It's so punitive to lose your best player on defense when he's doing what he's done his whole life. And that's simply try to make tackles and be physical for the linebacker position.
So for the second time this season, Green exits for targeting. This Kansas State defense will really have to buckle down now, and a huge hole for Warren. Yards after contact. The former Aggie from Utah State will have it inside the 10, first and goal.
And guess where they ran? Right in the void of where Daniel Green normally is in that middle linebacker position. Gets to the secondary, gets inside the 10.
Out of the pistol, they're lined up, ready to go. Jalen Warren gets the call. This time, a much better job by Kansas State. That's Nick Allen, who's in there for Daniel Green, in on the stop. Not a lot of reps at the linebacker position for Allen, the junior from Overland Park.
Only 1 tackle last week, 2 tackles on the season. He's going to have to be extremely focused and intense tonight, taking over for arguably the best player on their defense in Daniel Green.
Yeah, both those tackles coming in the Southern Illinois game in the first half when Green was sitting because of the Stanford targeting call. Second down, they will hand the ball off again. This is Warren with his 13th carry. Again, it's Allen on the tackle. 13 carries, 73 yards for Jalen Warren. Fresh off the heels of the 218-yard burst he had last week against Boise State.
You're a Cowboys fan out there and you're watching this football game after watching the 3 previous games in the non-conference. You'd almost ask the question, is this the same team? They've seen bits and pieces of it. Boy, they've really put a first half together in all phases.
They go trips right, H-back right, running back right. Warren with his 4th straight touch, trying to cradle his way inside. Brought down by Julius Brins, the Iowa transfer. A nice job by the Kansas State defense. They bent, but they buckled down when they had to, and they will force a chip shot field goal for Alex Hale.
That's big. It's big because you keep it within 3 scores. I know that's still a lot, but there's a difference. You know, when you go up by 4 scores this early, that's a positive for them to get a stop.
"20 yards out, Alex Hale, veteran kicker, gets it up and through. So the big play on the drive, the targeting call against Daniel Green. Hale adds 3 to the Oklahoma State lead. A blending of conference openers and non-conference games as we take a look at the Week 4 scoreboard. SMU outslugs TCU. Kansas falls to Duke, and then you look at the conference openers. Texas doubles up Texas Tech. Baylor wins a big one in Waco as they are able to turn away Iowa State. West Virginia, Oklahoma tied at 7. That game over on ABC. Not the job by SMU, unbeaten. Now 4-0, and they win today against a very good TCU team.
Very good TCU game in Fort Worth as well. Also, West Virginia playing Oklahoma well so far. I spent the entire week, Sean, in Morgantown with the Mountaineers, and they understood the undertaking they had, the history of this. They have yet to beat Oklahoma since their Big 12 inception. They knew what they had to do going into this game. It was a fun week spending it with Neil Brown and that crew.
And I think that's a team that picked up a lot of confidence with the win against Virginia Tech.
Definitely. They talked about if they could play an entire game like they played the first half against Virginia Tech, they would be tough to beat normally.
Kansas State with some work to do as Jaron Lewis connects with Malik Knowles. It's interesting, you're talking Oklahoma. Kleiman is 2-0 against the Sooners. 0-2 though against Gundy and the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma there when he ventures into the state of Oklahoma, but I don't think anybody stands up to what Oklahoma State's brought to the table so far in this first half. I dare anybody to step inside this stadium and battle this team and not be on the losing end the way they're playing.
Second offensive series for Lewis. A lot of misdirection in the backfield, and it goes absolutely nowhere. Samuela Tuihalamaka in on the stop for Oklahoma State.
Say that 10 times fast. That was special. He gets in there. Now, hey, watch as he just penetrates through a couple guys up front there and wraps him up and takes him down. Fun watching big fellas wear 35.
Just makes him a little lighter, doesn't it?
Yeah, it removes at least 10 pounds, they say.
Here comes this crowd. They have been into it from the opening kick. Lewis floats downfield, and a flag flies. Some contact. They were looking for Knowles. Tanner McAllister, the senior from Rockwall, with some hand contact, and this might be the first down Kansas State so desperately needed.
Yeah, Jaron Lewis did a tremendous job there. He just kept floating and let the ball go. And as he did, he put it in a place where there had to be some interference from the defender.
Pass interference, number 24, defense. 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
I'm going to say it was on Bernard Converse, who was also with McAllister with the coverage as we take another look.
I think they got that.
Oh, yeah, they got the wrong number. It was McAllister all the way.
Maybe he got both of them. That's clearly McAllister there. Look at he's got his hands on him. He turns around and takes a look, but he's holding it back just enough. That's a big first down for this Wildcats team.
Cowboys will rush 4, and Lewis zipped that ball. Boy, Keenan Garber barely turned around. I don't think he had his neck swiveled around in time to catch it.
Again, only 3 attempts a week ago. This is a scheduled opportunity for Jaron Lewis. Just like a week ago, take a little pressure off Will Howard, but you really put your team in a precarious position when you're down 31-10, when your main objective is to run the football and be physical.
Draw, and a good hole opens up. And taking it to the Cowboy 47 goes Jaron Lewis.
Good play design. Really spread the field out, allow for the quarterback draw.
These third downs have been the difference in this game. Oklahoma State shining. They're 6 of 7. Kansas State struggling, just 1 of 5. Gotta believe 4-down territory though here, down 21.
They have to score, get some sort of points or semblance of success before halftime.
They bring in an extra tackle. They'll keep it with Lewis, and he will move the sticks a first down.
Hey, when all else fails, you utilize your 11th player. A lot of times you don't have to account for the quarterback because he's simply dropping back there and you're rushing to bring him down. But when you turn him into a runner, puts a ton of pressure on the defense to account for.
Inside 2 minutes, clock rolling. Lewis dancing, and he will throw it away. A little bit of happy feet that time. He felt the pressure in that pocket, just sealing in on the young quarterback.
He does look a bit flustered out there when they ask him to do something that he's not necessarily comfortable with. The short passes to the sideline, but defensively for the Cowboys, they know that's coming, right? They're sitting on it. They're not surprised by anything that Lewis is bringing to the table here.
Knowles, Warner, Weber, the 3 receivers right. Wheeler, the tight end left. Deuce Vaughn flanking Lewis on this second down play. Lewis Chase gets rid of it and throws a strike and some room to work. Warner with the catch, pushed out of bounds at the 21. Cade Warner, his first catch for Kansas State, the transfer from Nebraska.
They go straight man coverage and bring a loop around with the linebacker here. See him? Comes around, pushes him to outside the pocket, and because of that man coverage, Cade Warner was able to break away and then spin out of that, pick up a huge first down to get them near the 20-yard line. Set up an opportunity for this Kansas State team to get some points before half.
Warner, a real neat story in Lincoln. He arrived at Nebraska as a walk-on. He left as a captain on scholarship last season. First down. Low throw, and it's incomplete. They tried to hit Tyrone Howell. Muhammad with the coverage.
Kind of like father, like son there in terms of an underdog coming out the other side, just incredibly successful. I texted Kurt, his dad, today and told him I was calling the game and said I was excited to watch his son play, and he's extremely proud of Cade and what he's accomplished, and wants just to see his son have success here. And for them to win this football game, Cade and this wide receiver crew are going to have to be intimately involved in the second half.
Chris Kleiman, obviously very close to Kurt Warner from their days at UNI back in Cedar Falls, and he just talked about the leadership that Cade has brought to this locker room, and that's a guy that you knew would start to get some more looks as they go deeper into the season. Timeout taken, 1:36 to go, first half. Kansas State with an important drive. We come back to Stillwater. Chris Kleiman taking that last time out. Oklahoma State in control late in the first half, but an impressive drive. Kleiman has watched his young sophomore Jaron Lewis take it all the way down to the Oklahoma State 22. Second down and 10. Lewis in some trouble, escapes the pocket, double clutches, and he's picked off. Intercepted by the Cowboys. Colby Harvell Peel with the interception.
How does he not see him right there? I don't know. Maybe we'll get a better look here with the replay, but just gets panicked outside the pocket here. Pump fakes, has the opportunity to probably run it for a little bit or throw it away, and just is not on the same page with Weber there. And Harvell Peel steps right in front of it. Huge mistake. Great turnover for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Now, you're talking about 1:29. They get the ball coming out at the second half. This could be devastating to Wildcat fans out there if they were to go down the field, get points, and then get the ball to start the second half.
The 9th career interception by Harvell Peel. Second takeaway by the Cowboy D. Dominic Richardson on first down, and let's see how the Cowboys want to play it. Does not appear that they are in any type of hurry, maybe content with this 21-point lead.
Yeah, I can get that. I also think whatever you do on first down dictates a lot what you're going to do with a drive like this. If they would have exploded for a big play, got a first down, they could have gone fast. We'll see what happens here.
Sanders on 2nd and 9. Long, dangerous throw and unable to control it. About the only thing he's been unable to control. Martin's had the same page as Sanders since the opening whistle.
He's not happy with himself. That was an incredible throw from Sanders. Put it on his hands. Tay Martin knows he probably should have had that ball, and that's the one that kind of maybe kick-starts this drive. They did stop the clock with the incompletion. I wouldn't be surprised if they run it kind of like a little sprint draw here.
And a timeout, Oklahoma State, before the snap.
Prior to the snap, Oklahoma State called their first charge time out of the half, 30 seconds too late.
Clearly, Casey Dunn heard me and didn't want Kansas State to have the opportunity there. Therefore, calling a timeout.
Spencer Sanders, we talked about it earlier, has been really good in his 2 years in Stillwater. Has battled some injuries on occasion. Last year he put it all together in the bowl game. He was the Cheez-It Bowl MVP, throwing for the 300 yards and the 4 touchdowns. And he gets his weapons back. He has this offensive line of Springfield, Woodard, Godlewski, Sills, and Birmingham. All of a sudden, things start to fall into place for this offense, as we've witnessed tonight.
You get the running game with what he can do with his feet, and clearly with his arm tonight, having his weapons back. This team is dangerous, right? It's a dangerous opponent for anybody in the Big 12 if they play games like this.
Third down, they will hand it off to Warren, and let's see if Kansas State will use the timeout and get the football back one more time.
Better. You cannot afford to take away an opportunity if you're Kansas State here, because they know. They could easily be down 28 points after the first drive of the second half. So let's see where they roll here. They can maybe bring some pressure on the punt, do some things to try to get a special teams play. They already have one tonight. They don't have that kickoff return, though. They're They've only put up 3 points as an offense, so.
These end of half situations so critical. Sure, you look at the score, it's 21 points, but you're talking about maybe unanswered points right before the halftime gun, especially for Kansas State. Stuck on 10 for a while since the 99-yard kick return by Knowles.
Is this their first punt?
This is.
Yeah.
Tom Hutton, the 31-year-old Australian over in kick. Kansas State will back away, and it is touched at the 40. Sunday at 2 Eastern, 1 Central, Big 12 soccer is back on the pitch as the Wildcats take on Red Raiders in Lubbock, and the Cowgirls battle the Jayhawks here in Stillwater. A reminder that it's never too early to talk Big 12 hoops. The Big 12 has released their conference schedules, and in October, Big 12 Media Days will kick off our coverage. First the women October 19th, and the men on the 20th, live from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Big 12 Media Days all right here. Big 12 now on ESPN+. Lewis off the interception will throw to Vaughn. Little angle pattern out of the backfield. Picks up 9. Clock continues to move. K-State with 1 timeout.
No one understands how a big difference that 1 yard was right there to get 9 instead of 10.
Stop the clock. Everybody set up a little bit. They dump it off to Vaughn again. He'll try to get out of bounds, and he does. So the clock will stop. Good job by Deuce Vaughn to stop the clock with 13 seconds. Rodriguez, another tackle. He's been all over like he normally is for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they have the 1 timeout, which allows them to do pretty much anything they want. They can go across the middle of the field to get themselves into field goal range and utilize that timeout, or they can go to the sidelines. But that's what Oklahoma State most likely is going to be guarding against, anything towards the perimeter or deep.
Pick up about another 20 yards to get him Winkle's range. He has a career long of 40. Time to throw over the middle, and that's what they're going to do. Brooks with the catch to the 27, and a timeout will be taken by Kansas State, and a chance for Tatum Winkle possibly to get a late 3. Clock is going to start up again, and now the Wildcats use the timeout. Good execution there by Lewis.
Yeah, he stood in the pocket. Only 4 guys rushing the quarterback. Allowed for what was going to be the weakness in that zone in a 2-minute drill over the middle. Guy settled in the zone right where he was supposed to, and Lewis put it on the money. They have... Great job of just staying in the pocket, not panicking, and then putting the ball perfectly on the money to Phillip Brooks, who gets the first down.
Tatum Winkle, the first-year kicker in Manhattan, coming in from Butler Community College, where he was mainly used as the punter. Officially 45 yards for Winkle. Good snap, placement down, kick is on the way. It has enough leg, plenty of leg in fact, and it is perfect.
It's been really a half of execution on the part of Oklahoma State and a couple big mistakes for Kansas State. The turnover for the touchdown and then the interception in the red zone that could have resulted in more points. That was big to get a 3, though, heading out.
For the 3rd time in 4 weeks, this passionate fan base able to watch their Cowboys. The Big 12 opener, number 25, Kansas State, and it's been all Okie State. Cowboys in control at the break. Alongside Ryan Leaf, Sean Kinney back with you from Stillwater, all Oklahoma State after the first half. Cowboys 31, Kansas State 13. Shane Sparks caught up with both coaches. Shane, what'd you find out?
Well, as you can imagine, Sean, it was opposite sides of the spectrum. Coach Mike Gundy extremely happy with his offense because of the balance, the rhythm, the playmakers made plays. And in the second half, he said we need to find a way to score 2 more touchdowns, but for the most part, just keep doing what we're doing. Conversely, on the other side, Chris Kleiman said we have got to do a better job tackling. That inability to make the big plays kept their defense on the field. It took a toll on them throughout the first half. He said in that second half, offensive line's got to do a better job blocking. Another quick note, quarterback Will Howard, he sustained an injury in that first half, but he will give it a go in this second half. Sean?
Thank you, Shane. Howard 4 of 10 throwing the football in the first half for 50 yards. Lewis 5 of 9 for 61 yards. He was picked off late in the first half. Presley trying to get to the outside, and he does. Presley slipping free from a tackle, just what Coach Kleiman told Shane. Yards after that initial contact, Oklahoma State just continues to rack up those yards, and a solid return by Brennan Presley.
The Cowboys have just simply been more aggressive in everything they've done. We talked about how on the film we saw Kansas State absolutely flying around all season long, really knowing what they had in front of them, what they needed to go do, and sometimes they've looked lost today. It doesn't help when your best player on defense is ejected for targeting and you're kind of left lost a little bit.
Yeah, Daniel Green, in case you're just joining us, the outstanding inside linebacker, tagged with targeting in the first half, so he is gone. Pressure comes, the big footsteps of Eli Huggins, and that is something we haven't really talked about. This dominant defensive line when you factor in Timmy Horn, Eli Huggins, Jalen Pickle, and of course Felix and Udike Uzama. They have been nullified today, and Green right now the spectator on the sideline.
That really was the first time, if I remember correctly, that Spencer Sanders has been really under any kind of pressure, and it came because of a corner blitz. So they did something a little different they haven't done in the first half. They brought some different kind of pressure.
Warren just continues to break through the initial wave. Warren averaging over 5 yards per carry in the first half. TJ Smith able to drag him down.
He didn't just drag him down. He came from like a missile from the middle of that secondary. That's the type of play we remember seeing watching film all week, just flying around making plays, and now sets up a third down. They're 6 for 8 so far today, which has been tremendous, getting them out to this big lead.
Real critical down for this Kansas State defense. They rush 3, drop 8 into coverage. As a result, Sanders with time, and he rifles it over the middle. And a first down grab to the 26-yard line. Blaine Green with his second catch of the night.
The speedster from Allen, Texas. With that much time back there, only rushing 3, dropping 8 like you talked about, there was just nothing you could do to stay with him. Allow Sanders to find the open, speedy freshman for another big first down. 7 now out of 9 attempts on third down by this Cowboys team.
Something about the brothers here at Oklahoma State. Another addition as far as family love. Bryson and Blaine Green, the twins, as you talked about, from Allen, Texas. Fresh set of downs. Looked like Sanders wanted to take a shot deep. Now he's being pursued, and he is outside the pocket, and he will throw it away. And let's see if a flag flies. Boy, that was really late. Ryan Hennington. And now here come the flags. And the Big 12 temperatures rising a little bit. The offensive lineman Cole Birmingham coming to his quarterback's aid.
As he should, but a whistle doesn't blow when the ball's thrown out of bounds until the ball is incomplete. And when you're a defender and you're at his ankles, you can't be expected to stop if you haven't heard a whistle. So I fully understand what was happening there. I know you all expect me as a former quarterback.
I wasn't going to say a word. I was shocked. You had me silenced.
After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 67, offense. 15-yard penalty. The down counts. Second down. That is number 67's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
Take a look.
Watch how he throws the ball out of bounds. See where Pennington's eyes are? Okay.
Yeah, he kept it.
He kept it going.
He did.
All right, now I can jump back on the quarterback side of things. And great job, Cole Birmingham, coming getting your quarterbacks back there.
There's the Ryan Leaf I know. Welcome back.
That's cheap. That's cheap right there. He saw that ball get thrown out of bounds. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. That's what I get for siding with the defensive player.
Second down and a mile following the penalty on the left tackle for Oklahoma State. Warren will take it to the 39-yard line. Brought down by Nick Allen. Again in there for Daniel Green. And this sets up a 3rd and long. And see the jawing continuing. Cole Birmingham, the redshirt sophomore, making his 3rd start at left tackle, his 6th career start. Missed 9 games last year for the Cowboys. 3 left, 1 right. They go to Martin on the drag. Couple of downfield blockers, has some work to do as he struggles to get back close to the original line of scrimmage. Rush Yeast able to track him down. Well, let's see if they send out Alex Hale in the field goal unit. 4th down and 10.
Been really impressed with what Casey Dunn has done offensively and how innovative he's been. He really ran everybody down the field and essentially set up a screen with the crosser there and Tay Martin to set up a better opportunity for a field goal here to get points for the Cowboys.
A 48-yard attempt for Alex Hale. He's working on some mechanical issues throughout the course of the week. Let's see if they have those issues straightened out. Kick is on the way, but he pushed it right, no good. And Kansas State gets the stop they needed, aided by the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Hale misfires. Kansas State's offense with some work to do. Gundy's Cowboys still in control. Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State with the lead. However, they just missed an opportunity, a penalty. It pushes them into a long field goal attempt. Hale comes up wide right. And now it's Will Howard back in there, shaking off a first half injury, and he will lead this Wildcat offense down 18 as they get ready for their first series in this 3rd quarter. Howard 4 of 10, throwing the ball for 50 yards. Is Kansas State's top rusher with the 28 yards on the ground. That's because this guy, Deuce Vaughn, just can't find a lot of room. Vaughn really bottled up tonight. 7 carries, 17 yards.
Yeah, he really had some running room there too, and when he put his foot in the ground, I thought he was really going to accelerate through the hole, but he stayed outside right in the arms of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And what this team needs and what Will Howard needs to do is take them on an extended drive like they did at the beginning of the game. 13 plays, mix it up, and they have to come away with points.
Howard pressured from the get-go, throws on the run, diving attempt incomplete. One thing to mention for Kansas State, no Daniel Imaterbebe. He did not make the trip, injured last week in the win against Nevada, so that's a top receiving target at the tight end grouping that they are sorely missing tonight.
Predictable 3rd down situations because now the defense knows pretty much what's going to come at them at 3rd and 7. That puts this offense, this particular offense, behind the sticks because they're just not bred to play this kind of football.
Trips left. Howard will step up, elude the initial pressure, and then it's dropped. Would have been shy of the first down. That's Sammy Wheeler, hit by Bernard Converse, who has been tested really from that opening quarter, and he just continues to make plays.
Yeah, he's been tested. He's been passing that test every single time. There, a throw on the other side of the line of scrimmage almost. You can't expect your players, even if he catches that ball, they don't get the first down. So kind of the same thing we've been talking about. You have to find a way to extend drives. You cannot keep giving the ball back to this potent offense.
Ty Zentner continues to have himself a night. High, deep line drive kick. And Presley spins out of the way of one, makes another defender miss as flags fly. Brennan Presley, he's electric every time he touches the football. Flag thrown along the Kansas State sideline. Seems like he's one cut away. 58-yard punt by Zentner. That's a second one tonight.
Not great when your punter's the MVP of the game, but
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 12, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down, Oklahoma State.
Kansas State defensively is going to have to rally. Daniel Green for the second time this year tagged with targeting. It happened on this play. The contact was Sanders.
unfortunate and punitive. He did lead with the crown of his helmet. Right now, that's the rule. And the leader on defense of this football team, the heart and soul, you could say, is out. And in a game where you need a bunch of that heart right now, he isn't there to drive it. Let's see what this defense can do after another great punt that backs them up inside their own 15.
Operating from the pistol, the H-back is Braden Cassidy. He goes in motion. Warren trying to run behind him is wrestled down by Cody Fletcher. Jalen Warren, his first year in Stillwater, transferred in from Utah State, a native of Salt Lake City. Really has found success at every level playing football. It started back in his record-breaking days in high school at East High, and then carried over into the junior college ranks. He was the 2018 JUCO Player of the Year. Sanders has nowhere to go, bringing up a third down. And when he was on the field for Utah State, he performed in the Mountain West, and it looks like he's going to perform in the Big 12.
Well, that was a pretty good coming out party a week ago. 32 carries, 218 yards, plus those 2 touchdowns in the victory against the Boise State Broncos up there in Idaho. Back at home, offensively, they haven't looked quite the same. Defensively, Kansas State has found out maybe a little secret. They've been really flying to the flats, which has been a huge difference so far. Big third down.
They bring both linebackers. They're picked up, and the throw is behind Martin. A rare miscommunication between those two. They have been on the same page tonight, and Kansas State, give this Wildcat defense credit, making some adjustments early in this third quarter.
And what a difference can be made when you get pressure on a quarterback, right? Right there, that because he didn't have the time and he couldn't step into his throw, he wasn't accurate to his main guy, Tay Martin. Instead, he throws it behind him and away, and another third down stop for these Wildcats.
Kansas State nearly got there. Hutton gets the kick away, returnable for Phillip Brooks. And he is giving ground, and he is chased down back at the 34. Special teams for Oklahoma State. DeMarco Jones. Cowboys maintain their lead early on, second half. Mike Gundy believes in Cowboy culture, winning on the football field and doing it with class, both on and off the field. The perfect example took place this weekend in Boise. For more on that, here's Shane.
Well, Sean, he told us that from day one, he is a guy that likes to keep things clean, whether it's the locker room or other facilities. They take a lot of pride in it. He said it's those little things that are a big part of who you are, and that tidiness carries to road locker rooms. They always want to leave a locker room cleaner compared to when they arrived. He said it is a simple matter of respect. These kind of things speak to who you are, and they are noticed. Boise State, for one, appreciated the gesture.
Building a championship culture, perfecting whatever you do, whether it's on the football field, whether it's community service, working around campus, and on the road in the opposition's locker room.
Yeah, it's about choice, simply. You have a choice in any situation, regardless of what you think is big or small, to do something in a positive and healthy way or a negative and toxic one. That's just the nature of the beast here, and Mike Gundy is trying to teach and have a culture around making the next right positive choice.
9 guys in the box on the second down give to Deuce Vaughn, and Vaughn is able to pop through a little crevice about a half a yard shy of the first down. Colby Harvell Peel from his safety position, setting up a 3rd and short. until they take a shot downfield, it's going to be tough chugging for Deuce Vaughn.
And they did early in the game, which I thought they had opportunities to make plays. I just didn't feel like Will Howard could step into his throw because of the pressure up front by the Cowboys. So here's an opportunity again, 3rd and extremely short. They sit 6 yards back in the shotgun. Just take your big 6'4" quarterback, put him under center, and get the first down.
That's Warner in motion, and they will hand the ball off to Vaughn, and he goes nowhere. Tackled in the backfield. Again, it's Harvell Peel. Back-to-back plays for the senior.
It's just incredibly frustrating watching an offense make a play like that. If you look, he gets touched at 4 yards in the backfield. He doesn't even have a chance to get the first down. You take your big 6'4", 235-pound quarterback, you put him under center, and you just flat out push everybody through. Use that physical nature, and because you're not able to do that, you have to punt the ball back to this offense, and you know you haven't gained anything.
Kansas State wastes pretty good field position as he sends Zentner out again. For the 4th time tonight, he will pin Oklahoma State inside their own 20. This one rolls out of bounds. See where they mark it at the 7-yard line. 51-yard punt by Zentner, and it seems like this has been the theme in this 3rd quarter. Oklahoma State working in the shadows of their own end, but K-State, despite getting the stops, this offense unable to do anything.
Plenty of opportunity for Ty Zentner to be awesome tonight when your offense continues to go 3 and out and put your defense in extremely precarious situations against a potent offense. You can't expect this defense to play so many plays out there tonight in this heat early on and stand up. They won a war of attrition last week against Nevada. They're getting it applied to them this week by the Cowboys.
Flag flies on first down as Warren takes it up to the 11, but again a flag thrown in the vicinity of a hole.
It's not just me,
Holding,
right?
number 61. Offense, half the distance to the goal. First down.
You feel like they're, and we see it a lot in terms of on short yardage situations in this new day and age of, you know, fast-paced offenses and shotguns and things like that. Getting back to the roots of 3rd and short, 4th and short, you know, getting a first down.
Absolutely. Bringing in the 13 personnel, the 12 personnel under center. 1st and 15, they hand it off right side, and a hole opens up, and a good open field tackle as Warren looked like he might have had some space to work, and now Warren is down on the Oklahoma State sideline. Oh boy, this is a Cowboy running back group that is already short LD Brown and Desmond Jackson tonight. Both of those guys not in uniform, so Dominic Richardson and Jaden Nixon are the only 2 backs they have. Let's hope this is a minor deal.
Watch how he stays along the line of scrimmage here and then just kind of presses the outside shoulder. McPherson pulls him down. Maybe just a little cramp.
Yeah, he really popped up. He sprang up toward the end, so that's a positive sign. We'll keep an eye on that. Richardson is in there now, and he will get the call on 2nd down, and Nick Allen able to submarine his way in. Kansas State defense playing with a purpose in this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, they must have noticed something at during halftime, and you really know what kind of coaches you have with the adjustments you're able to make at halftime to stymie an offense that really was having their way with you in the first half. They've done that so far. They just need their offense to reciprocate a little.
They need a takeaway in the biggest of ways. 3rd down and 8. Offense struggling. Can the defense get in the act like Oklahoma State did in the first half? Pressure comes. They hit the tight end, the Cowboy back, and then a jarring hit by McPherson. Well shy of the first down. Jerron McPherson bringing it that time.
Back-to-back big plays by McPherson to get their offense off the field. Watch this. He just flat out runs. They're going to take a look at this.
Well, the crowd just took a look at it up on the huge jumbotron here at Boone Pickens, and that is the sound that you hear. And Kansas State has already lost one player. That looked like they will take a look at it as the kick is away by the left-footed Tom Hutton. End-over-end kick makes a Kansas State bounce. And again, the Wildcats will have it in good starting shape. Third offensive series. Wildcat defense showing some improvement. McPherson delivering the thunder. Let's see if that ignites the offense. In the Mike Gundy era, anytime the conference season begins, usually they win football games. He's led Oklahoma State to a 64-33 mark against Big 12 foes since 2010. Tonight, a ranked team in the house, and Oklahoma State behind a dominant first half, continuing to ride it, leading 31-13. Best starting shape of the day for Kansas State in this quarter as Jaron Lewis checks back in, throws out to Vaughn in the flats, and Deuce Vaughn makes the catch, escorted out of bounds by Bernard Converse. So Howard goes the opening two series, and now it's Lewis. Kansas State prior to that last play, you saw the graphic, just the 11 yards of offense through their first two series.
It's difficult to get a rhythm, of course, when you got a couple quarterbacks coming in and out. They have this plan. Both of them attributed to 3 points each. Both have made two large mistakes.
Lewis wants to go right. He's stubborn on that sideline. Vaughn makes the catch. Might have lost a yard. Malcolm Rodriguez. Boy, Malcolm was just beaming at the Big 12 media days this summer, talking about his weight. He's up around 230 this season. Remember, he played around 200 pounds 2 years ago. A lot of people feel he's going to be playing on Sunday somewhere someday. The leader of this defense, and their teeth have been sharp tonight.
Might be cheering around me being 232. Sure.
They run a stunt. Lewis nowhere to go, and he throws it away. There is a flag down. Vaughn was trying to get free out of the backfield, as you see Lewis end up on his backside. And I wonder if Vaughn was held. There's an injured Cowboy as well, back near where the quarterback threw the football.
Offside, number 9. Defense, 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Brock Martin giving a second chance to Kansas State.
And I want to say it's Brock Martin who may be down on the ground.
This will be a big blow for Oklahoma State. Martin off to a terrific start as we take another look. Number 9. See him making the move inside on the stunt initially. And then, yeah, friendly fire.
Brock Martin extends that arm to go for the tackle, and his teammate with his head looks like he hits his elbow, and it easily could have hyperextended. 6'3", 250-pound senior.
He's just been plagued by injuries throughout his career, trying to put it all together, and he has really had a terrific start to this year coming into the game tonight. 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackle for losses. A shoulder injury that plagued him back in 2017. He's had some calf issues. You just feel for this young man, Brock Martin, fan favorite, recent father of a 4-month-old son, Maverick. Back to wearing his old high school number this year and forced to leave this lineup.
I love you guys too. Just quit touching me. Quit touching me. I'm in pain here.
Well, the name Colin Oliver becomes even more important for Oklahoma State. The talented freshman, a defensive end, one of the guys that Gundy will turn to fill in for Martin while he's absent. There is Oliver on this 3rd down and 3. The offsides call giving K-State a second chance. Got to believe 4-down territory, though, for the Wildcats. These short yardage situations have been tricky. Brooks in motion, zigzagging back and forth. He'll get the touch on the jet sweep, and then he's punished. Oliver right on cue with the hit. Evan Harper also in there as well for this Cowboy D.
Nobody fooled on the Cowboys side there defensively. There was about 5 guys around making that tackle. Surprising the flag wasn't thrown there. Retaliation by, watch this, everybody just flows with the jet sweep, and boy, they are there to take him down.
Kansas State perfect on 4th downs this season, 3 for 3. Lewis, reverse pivot, giving up a lot of ground, running for his life, still on his feet. He's going to try to run for the 1st down, nowhere close, and the Cowboy D stiffens up.
That's a lot of running for a loss there on 4th down. You have to get rid of the football in some way. Wasn't a very inventive play call there to reach for the 1st down with the throwing part of it, and then he utilizes his legs, but no one else is scrambling for him. He tries to make it work with his legs, and comes up short once again.
The scramble situations, you're the receiver. What do you do there to help out your quarterback?
Well, you work on this in practice. You call it the scramble drill for a reason. You have certain points on the field that the receivers go to. You have one receiver that breaks deep, that just flat out takes off for a big play, and then you have other layers along the way, and it just seemed nobody was really moving along with Lewis to try to find an opening.
Dominic Richardson on the change of possession gets 2. Richardson exploded late last year. The regular season finale at Baylor, he rushed for 169 yards, had 3 touchdowns on 23 carries. He's the young guy on this loaded depth chart when you look at L.D. Brown, the 5th-year senior, Desmond Jackson, a 5th-year senior, and then the transfer Jalen Warren. 2nd down and 8. And a juggle and a drop incomplete. He was looking for Blaine Green.
They hit that pass in the 1st half. This time was just a little too far ahead of him. But Casey Dunn has seen something during the week in film and what he's getting on 1st and 2nd down in terms of coverage. And he's taken a couple shots down that seam, getting inside the cover 3 corner. That time just off the fingertips of Blaine Green, the freshman.
Green with a couple of catches today. His first 2 catches of the season, the young freshman from Allen. Here comes Fletcher. They have the screen, and it was set up. A perfectly dialed up screen, and Richardson unable to hang on.
They've dialed up that screen now for a 3rd time. This time was perfectly executed. Dominic Richardson just stumbled a bit when the ball was presented. Nick Allen was right on top of Spencer Sanders, but he was able to backpedal his way to get an accurate throw there.
Hasn't this game come to a screeching halt after a wild 1st half?
Very similar to last week's game with Oklahoma State. They scored 21 points in the 1st half and then went scoreless the rest of the way, winning that game 21-20.
State will take the delay of game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Give their 31-year-old punter Tom Hutton more room to work, and Mike Gundy singled him out in chatting with him this week. He says he's really quietly done a nice job. Has not been given the credit he deserves, the veteran from down under. And Oklahoma State through the Pro Kick Australia. Good job here by Hutton. The fair catch, K-State. 38-yard punt by Hutton. Kansas Kansas State working deep in their own end, trailing 31-13.
Well, it's kind of like, beating the same drum over and over again. What are you going to do differently here if you're Kansas State? And there isn't really a lot of things in the well to go to, right? I mean, they do what they do. Usually games are closer. They make them into those types of battles. And then the war of attrition, like last week in the fourth quarter. This is out of their character, having to spread the field like this and start making plays down the field with the quarterback's arm.
And with that arm, that's when Skylar Thompson can get things done with his vertical downfield throwing ability. Wheeler somehow able to keep his concentration and make the catch up to the 33-yard line. Pickup of 18 yards when it looked like that one might be picked off. Wheeler hauls it in.
Yeah, I thought it was going the other way. Watch this. The guy steps in front of it, gets it. They overrun him, and he turns it into a big gain. It gets them their first down of the second half.
Jason Taylor, who has a tendency to come up with the timely play, nearly had another from his Cowboys safety position in there for the injured Trey Steerlin. First down, play fake. Lewis rolls right, has time, and a nice catch is made. Throw a bit behind Knowles. He was able to adjust it. 12 more yards. Taylor shoves him out of bounds.
From a quarterback's perspective, I always want as much spacing as possible with my wide receivers. Now, when you're running boots and nakeds, you have guys that will run in certain same areas of one another. But look at here. I honestly don't know who he was throwing to be honest with you. What a catch by Knowles there. Goes up with one hand, and that easily could be a penalty there on Corey Black, where he blindsides Kansas State's wide receiver.
Yeah, that was Tyrone Howell who went airborne. It's a completion, first down. Here comes the blitz, and they get to him. Oh, he dumps it, and Vaughn makes the catch. Deuce Vaughn on the loose. 20-15, Vaughn turns on the accelerator. Touchdown. How on earth did Lewis get rid of the ball?
He knew where his outlet was, and as he's getting pulled down, he flips it to Deuce Vaughn, who does the rest. The speedster, absolutely no one in front of him because they were in straight man coverage. Flies down the sideline for a touchdown.
"55 yards to Vaughn." Peyton Winkle with the point after, and Kansas State inches a little closer.
Here you go. You talked about the blitz getting to him, right? They bring the two linebackers and the safety around. Somehow he's able to get his arm out and know where his outlet is, and you got straight man coverage, which means every defender has their back turned. And Deuce Vaughn just goes right down the sideline and races for a touchdown. Look again, all over him. He knows where his outlet is. No one has him man-to-man, and every defender has their back turned, and he outraces everybody to the end zone. Great block by Landry Weber there to set up that touchdown. That's the spark this team needed. They've gotten stops on defense. Jaron Lewis provides the spark with a great play in the pocket to know where his outlet is when he's under pressure.
Showed some toughness, showed some poise, showed some strength to keep up upright and get that throw off to Vaughn. Oh, that's a confidence builder in one quick play. If you're a young quarterback like Lewis. Kansas State cutting it down to 11, and this Wildcat defense ready to go back to work. Don't forget Sunday at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. Big 12 soccer is back on the pitch as the Wildcats take on the Red Raiders in Lubbock, and then the Cowgirls battle the Jayhawks here in Stillwater. And a reminder that it's never too early to talk Big 12 hoops. Big 12 has released their conference schedules, and in October, Big 12 Media Days will kick off our coverage. First up, the women, October 19th, then the men on the 20th. live from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. It's all right here on the Big 12 now. 1st and 10 from the 25, and Kansas State breathing a little fire. Jalen Pickle and Felix Anudike Uzama sandwiching the Okie State running back.
They've been doing their job the entire second half. The offense finally contributed. Now, let's see what the defense can do.
They go up tempo, spread it out on this 2nd and 10. Sanders hit as he throws, and it's too tall, incomplete. Martin unable to reel it in. The throw sailed on Sanders, and Cowboy offense that could do no wrong in the first half really struggling in this quarter.
Well, what's really been the struggle for them is protecting the quarterback. That's been the biggest issue right here. Spencer Sanders has had people at his feet. And any quarterback out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. When you got guys around your feet, you don't feel comfortable. You don't set your feet and let it fly with accuracy.
Sanders just 3 of 9 in this 3rd quarter. And he's going to take a shot. Home run ball into double coverage, and it's intercepted. But was he in bounds? No. Out of bounds, they say. But K-State will get the stop.
Sincere Mason does a great job of playing center field right there and simply watches the eyes of the quarterback. It's a simple defensive play for him. So he runs across the field, goes up and catches it, but gets pulled out of bounds before he fully takes control of the football. It would have been just like a punt. An interception always gets the team a little bit more hyped, but with the return where they're punting from, they could get the ball in a similar spot here.
Mason, one of the additions via the transfer portal from Kennesaw State. They added a bunch this offseason to try to shore up some holes defensively in the secondary with Brents, Yeast, Mason, all coming via the transfer portal.
All right. Do you stick with Jaron Lewis, who just put together a great play, or do you have what you've been doing in mind here with Will Howard? We'll see. He has given him a spark. And a week ago, I felt like he gave them a spark, and Jaron's coming back out there after that big play to get them on the scoreboard. Cut this lead to 11 points in the second half.
This crowd getting a little antsy on a Saturday night in Stillwater as we wind down the 3rd quarter. Play fake. Lewis rolls right, pressured, and he's able to get rid of it. Driven down to the turf by Devin Harper.
I like the boot call here. Watch. Play action fake. Not fooled as Harper as he goes right for that quarterback. Good job of Lewis getting rid of it. Because he got hit as he did and the ball didn't get past the line of scrimmage, I think they gave them the benefit of the doubt of the ball being in the vicinity of a wide receiver.
Skylar Thompson injured a couple of games ago. He was throwing the football around. They're hoping to get him back this season. Forced to play the role of the spectator here tonight. Vaughn thrown for a loss, a big loss back to the 25-yard line. That's Israel Antwine, making his 27th start, the transfer from Colorado.
Not fooled at all. He burst through the line of scrimmage and gets his hand on the speedy running back, and that will end the 3rd quarter. It was a great quarter for the Kansas State defense. A big play for their offense.
Skylar Thompson, he's believing Kansas State in a hole at half, but this defense battling back despite the 2 takeaways from the Cowboys. Deuce loose. Vaughn 6 has Kansas State back in it. With Shane Sparks, Ryan Leaf, Sean Kinney welcoming you back to Stillwater. 4th quarter, Big 12 opener, Oklahoma State with a 31-20 lead over Kansas State as we start quarter number 4. 3rd down and 15. They bring the blitz. Lewis lets her fly, and Knowles unable to haul it in. Got a hand on it. Bernard Converse with the one-on-one coverage out on the island as they brought the blitz again, Ryan.
Great blitz, great pressure. makes Lewis fire probably a little early, but he still puts it in a spot where his receiver can make the catch. In a situation like this, Sean, you have to make a catch like that. If it touches your hands, you got to pull it down, especially in a tight moment like this when you have a chance to get back in this game.
Zentner with the kick, returnable for Presley, and he is stopped right there in his tracks. Hennington, the first one down for Kansas State.
Ryan Hennington, the 6'1", 220-pound senior out of Junction City, Kansas, has been all over the field tonight, really, in the absence of Daniel Green.
All right, let's dial in on this offense a little bit. After dominating the first half, 6 drives in the third quarter, just the 54 yards of offense, 5 punts, and the missed field goal. What is Kansas State doing differently?
It really looks like they've done some work with their outside linebackers getting to the flat, pinching a little bit. As you can see, those 3 down linemen are really in the interior right now.
Warren is checked back into the game. Sanders finds the hole and then some. Onto the Wildcat side of the field, it's Presley. This kid is electric. Brents brings them down, but a first down throw, and that's where Sanders was so lethal in the first half.
Yeah, getting somebody back like that tonight for him has been explosive. He's been a security blanket right there. He came to him getting pressured once again.
33 yards, now Sanders on the zone read, cutting across the K-State defense, and he is shoved out of bounds by McPherson. Physical night for Jerron McPherson.
Watch this as he steps back and moves away. He finds his open receiver. Cody Fletcher just a little late getting to him, and then Julius Brents kind of puts an explanation point on it, but after a big first down.
See if that throw and catch gets Sanders back in a flow a little bit. 2nd and 11. He's going to take a shot. He'll launch toward the sideline. Martin is there as flags fly, and this might be offensive interference.
Well, if you remember correctly, in the first half, when they threw that touchdown to Tay Martin, he kind of got away with a little extension of that left arm there. Full extension of that left arm gives himself a chance to make the catch. The officials call him for offensive pass interference.
Offense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 2nd down.
Watch as the ball's coming down. Watch him give that little shove with not with only one arm, but with 2 arms right in front of the official. Then Rush East, you got to stay away, right? You're about to get a penalty here. There's no need even to be near him right there. And you shove him against the wall. He should have got called for a unsportsmanlike right there and had some offsetting stuff, but instead they get put into a 2nd and forever.
It's an old Pac-12 reunion. Martin, from his days at Washington State, Justin Gardner for K-State, started his career at Oregon State. Sanders just zips it toward the sideline, and it is caught. Rashad Owens holds it in. Did he get a foot down? Kansas State pleading their case, saying no. In the meantime, Oklahoma State lined up. They're ready to go. And they are going to say catch by Owens.
They're hustling up, trying to get a playoff before a review could be initiated.
The completed pass is under further review.
They will take a look upstairs with our replay official, Gene Simcoe.
That'll be a big play. It will take it to a 3rd and manageable for this team. If not, they'll be in a very tough position here. As he goes up, watch where that left foot comes down. It looks like it's on the white right there to me. Looks like his toes are on the white. You can really see the little dimples of the turf, field turf, come up where his foot lands. Now is it inclusive enough for a reversal? The one from the top there seemingly feels like it. seemingly always get these wrong, though. I would say that's an incomplete pass.
Yeah, I would agree.
From this view right here.
Remember, the call on the field is a catch. Is this enough evidence to overturn the call? That's the debate right now. And I would say, yes, I'm with you on that.
Right, yeah, I think his foot lands on the white of the out of bounds there, and it twists back into the field play a little bit.
And you're right. This is a critical call. It'd be very manageable 3rd and 9 if the ruling stands for Mike Gundy. Chris Kleiman hoping this gets overturned. Had to be a little shell shock tonight, the way this game started for the Wildcats. We're about to find out.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field of a completed pass stands. 3rd down.
This must not have been conclusive enough. I don't know what you could be looking at. Coach Kleiman feels kind of the same way you and I do, Sean.
Well, now the question becomes, Kansas State get the stop. All of a sudden, 3rd and 9.
Right, you don't let that get in your mind here. You get a stop here. You get off the field or make them attempt a very long field goal.
Robert Hintz is checked in. He lines up over the nose of the football. A 3-man rush by K-State. Sanders gets rid of it quickly, and it's incomplete. McPherson had a reading on it, the radar lock, and it falls to the turf, setting up a 4th down, and Tom Hutton will come out on to try to pin K-State deep.
Yeah, Jerron McPherson has been locked in. You talked about like radar right there. That was a perfect example of him getting to it and breaking up that play. So, of course, the review, subsequent completion has no effect. They are going to punt it.
High angling kick. Bearcats signal for at the 7.
Well, the decision there, of course, by Kansas State puts this game in jeopardy. 31-20 Oklahoma State. 13 minutes left.
Week 4 started with 3 Big 12 teams in the top 25. Iowa State goes by the wayside. Baylor knocks them off. Oklahoma trailing West Virginia over on ABC. And here in Stillwater, the 3rd-ranked team, Kansas State, on the ropes, down 11.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for the ranked teams in the Big 12. Though you and I had a chance to see Baylor a couple weeks ago, we thought they were the real deal, and they got a big win at home today against the Iowa State Cyclones.
Real good offensive line the Bears enjoy, and another big special teams return from Ebner. Just the factors that go into a game, and Baylor seems to be pretty solid in all the areas. All right, critical drive here, Ryan, for Kansas State. Second time they've started from their own 7. Lewis clearly their guy that they're feeling pretty good with right now.
Yeah, they're rolling with them, a guy who's got a little bit of the hot hand. Well, one hot hand, one big play that got them the big touchdown, which has kind of gotten them back in the game. The defense has been a real story the second half. Now they got to take this momentum and turn and get something out of it.
Flip the tight end to the right. Malik Knowles will be a decoy as they give it to Vaughn. His 13th carry of the day goes nowhere. Israel Antwine making his 27th start from the tackle. There's a flag down as well.
Illegal formation. More than 4 players in the backfield. Offense. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Choosing to decline the penalty. We talked about this and how Deuce Vaughn has 5 consecutive 100-yard games. Today, only 21 yards on 13 rushes. He had the big catch, of course, for the touchdown, but has not been the same player simply because they've been behind. They haven't had a chance to really run the football like they wanted to.
5 catches for Vaughn out of the backfield. 3rd down and short. They'll take a shot over the middle, and it's nearly intercepted. Lewis was almost picked off again. Colby Harvell-Peel, who intercepted him back in the first half, nearly had number 2.
It's just not what they do offensively, and so it's difficult, especially with this kind of defense that likes to bring pressure and has great defensive backfield that can be back there to break up passes as well as make big plays. You're just expecting a lot out of Jaron Lewis.
Tay Martin to return this punt, and it goes off his hand out of bounds. Dangerous decision, flirting with danger, and fortunately for the Cowboys, it skips away. Tay says that one is on me. Cowboys clinging to the 11-point lead. Buoyed by 31 first-half points, Oklahoma State out in front of Kansas State early on fourth quarter. Cowboys 31, Wildcats 20. Let's check in with Shane Sparks.
Well, Sean, Oklahoma State players and coaches wearing this shirt tonight in honor of Chester Pittman and his number 23. Chester Pittman shattered the color barrier here at Oklahoma State. He was the first African-American football player for the Cowboys. He came in 1957, but it was in 1960 in a game at Kansas State. They spoiled the Wildcats' homecoming. He helped lead the Cowboys to their first ever Big 8 conference victory. He later on would go to Kansas State to earn his master's degree. Unfortunately, Chester passed away at the end of last year at the age of 83, but his legacy is shining here in Stillwater.
Thank you, Shane. Boy, it certainly is. What a nice tribute, a way to remember. Ironically, here we are, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, just like we were, as Shane described so many years ago. This team offensively is just a different looking squad when Jaylen Warren's on the field.
Yeah, and they're able to do a lot of things. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, and then, of course, his ability to run downhill over his pads is a game changer.
19 carries. This will be his 20th rush of the night, trying to hit the 100-yard mark, and he is driven down, shouldered down by Timmy Horn, the transfer from Charlotte. He was elected a team captain before he even played a snap at K-State. He's that demonstrative in the locker room. They are going to move the stick, so a first down for Oklahoma State. And this game really has become a field position battle, and the Cowboys content. You know, they're going to use a lot of the play clock. The punter has done a nice job, and they're going to make Kansas State try to move the football the length of the field. Warren knifing his way up to the 45.
Yeah, I think it was a big reason why Mike Gundy chose to punt it when they were inside their own 50 there, you know, because they know that this Kansas State team has been stagnant at best. And they were going to start to play the field position game, like you said, here in the second half with the lead.
Second down, Sanders whips it out. Martin makes the catch, slips free from a defender, Yeast, down the sideline. And he is finally knocked out by T.J. Smith. Rush Yeast just whiffed on the tackle. Smith able to get enough on the shove to stop the explosive Martin.
Wonderful job of avoiding the tackle and then just exploding with the size and speed of Tay Martin. They pick up another big first down. They haven't had many explosive plays in the second half, but Tay Martin makes one happen there with his size, his speed, and we have a Kansas State player that is down.
Defense that doesn't want to lose anybody else. Again, no Khalid Duke. He is out for the year, the exceptional pass rusher up front. Then no Reggie Stubblefield tonight. He is out with an injury. He was instrumental last week. They used him in the nickel package quite a bit, facing Carson Strong, the high-powered Nevada offense. And it looks like it is another secondary player, T.J. Smith, who's coming off an injury a year ago, that is down on the turf for Kansas State. Smith will head to the sideline over on the bench, and the treatment will continue. And the secondary that was so short-handed a year ago, Kleiman and defensive coordinator Joe Klanderman hit the transfer portal really heavily, try to shore up the difference a little bit. It has worked through the first 3 games. Tonight, though, in the first half in particular, Sanders had his way throwing the football. 1st and 10, Oklahoma State. Cassidy in motion to the right side. Will hand it off to Warren, carrying the football with both arms.
John, I don't know if you saw that or not, but they had the 3 wide receivers down here to the wide side of the field. Kansas State kind of matched it, but then started bringing pressure right at the snap. And if you're a quarterback and you see 3 on 2 out there, there's an opportunity to be had.
Over the middle, Warren makes the catch, and then a collision with Cody Fletcher. Short gain, 4, maybe 5 yards, bringing up a 3rd down. Clock continues to move. That's the Cowboy ally right now.
Got to commend this Kansas State defense for how they've come out at halftime and played the second half, because they absolutely got run over in the first half. They lost their best player on defense due to a targeting call in Daniel Green, and they've really bowed up and played some solid defense here. And once again, they got an opportunity to get their defense off the field with a 3rd down.
Kansas State will rush only 3, and then a huge opening up the middle as a flag flies. Sanders will pick up the 1st down, but this might be coming back. It looked like Hennington was held with the outside containment.
Holding number 61. Offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
Jake Springfield working at right tackle. That's a new position for him. The walk-on who was given a scholarship prior to the start of last season.
Anytime your quarterback takes off and runs like that, a lot of times you'll just hang on to a shoulder pad as he goes the other direction, because he's not ready for it to happen. He doesn't think it's going to get exposed, and sure enough, he just tugs on Superman's cape there, and they get penalized and set up a very, very long 3rd and 16.
8 penalties for 79 yards. Docked on the Cowboys. 3rd down and long. Sanders will just settle to the flats. Ahead to the 32-yard line. First catch. Cassidy hit by Fletcher again. On a 4th down, remember, Hale has missed from 48 tonight. This would be 50 yards if Gundy wants to risk it, and he will send out Alex Hale.
It does take it to a 2-touchdown game. That's a big difference.
Officially going to be 49 yards. Snap down, the kick is on the way. It has enough leg, and again he misfires. Well, there goes the field position game. Kansas State given a little bit of a break, and Kleiman's Wildcats take advantage. Kansas State entered tonight a top 20 team in the country running the football, averaging right around 225 yards on the ground. Tonight, they have been held in check, just 74 yards rushing against the Oklahoma State D. They start this possession at the 32-yard line. Lewis is in there. He showed some toughness. He hangs, and now throws it away. Vaughn had no real estate to work. Harper had him shadowed out of the backfield. Pressure from Antwine, who's making an impact on that front wall for Oklahoma State.
Wears a heck of a good number, too. But this defensive backfield is absolutely sticking on these wide receivers like glue. I mean, there is no separation at all anywhere for Lewis to go with the football when he's scrambling. That's really impressive to do that in space when you're going up man against man.
Lacey and Oliver, the two Russians, Evers and Antwine, the interior defenders. They drop Oliver into coverage, and that fooled Lewis, and a strip sack, ball loose, and it's Duffy who jumps on top of it for Kansas State. Tyler Lacey, the honorable mention All Big 12 defender, able to crank it up that time and get in and cause disruption.
Or as good as the offense was in the first half, the defense for Oklahoma State has been that good in the second half. Albeit one play that they really did a good job and got a ton of pressure on and it resulted in a touchdown. They have been magnificent on defense.
How many third and longs tonight for Kansas State?
And third and long for Kansas State really is 3rd and 6+ period. They don't have the call sheet to get it done from outside of that.
Lewis, low throw. Brooks unable to dig it out. Tanner McAllister had the coverage. The Cowboy defense continues to ring the bell for Oklahoma State. They are making play after play tonight when they need them.
You know, if you're Jim Knowles and you're calling the defense and you know that your defensive backs are going to be able to do what they do, and that's stick to their guys, that allows him to do so much with those linebackers and those defensive fronts to mix and match and rush the passer.
Knowles, the Philly native, coached at Cornell in the Ivy League. And again, it's Oklahoma State having some issues handling the punt. They're able to get back on it. Andre Weber was close, coming up with a big takeaway. Cowboys hang on, though. Presley breathing a little bit easier, even a smile underneath the helmet. Cowboys by 11. Spencer Sanders on the left has thrown for over 300 yards tonight, a couple of touchdown passes. Jalen Warren for the second straight week, over 100 yards rushing. And now this duo ready to work on the clock a little bit, leading by 11. Another productive day for Warren, the transfer from Utah State. Sanders able to hit his stride, especially in the first half. A couple of weapons back on the edge in his receiving fleet. As expected, Warren on first down, twists and turns his way for 3. Ronson Massey, the tackle.
I think that your point about having some weapons back has been the biggest reason why Spencer Sanders has had such a prolific game, getting Tay Martin back. Because, you know, Coach talked to us about like never in his 32 years of coaching has he ever had to start 2 freshman wide receivers. So that played a huge part in what's gone on the last 3 weeks. And Tay Martin being back tonight, you could tell early on made a difference.
Yeah, he's had to start a couple of freshmen in 2 different position groupings. There's a throw and strike right on cue. It's Tay Martin beating Brins. Martin with his 9th catch. Martin caught 6 for 107 in week 1 against Missouri State before the injury. And tonight, with that 9-yard catch, that should put him right smack dab at 100. 9 catches, 100 yards for the senior.
He's going to be a problem for a lot of these defensive backs in the Big 12 because of his size, his strength, and all of his experience, right? The amount of plays and reps he's taken at Washington State before getting here to Oklahoma State.
Every first down just means more and more time off the clock. Eli Huggins blowing up the play.
First time we've really said Eli's name tonight, and Coach really talked about him a ton, about how he was so difficult to block and how he could get off blocks and make big plays. And, well, there's a big one there. We got the 3 timeouts left for Kansas State. The clock now down to 4 minutes. They have not been able to do anything offensively except for that one explosive play in the second half, and they need to get this ball back once again and need to really get a takeaway or do something in the special teams, because offense has really let them down.
Quick throw, push and given, and Sanders says thank you very much. First down catch up to the 49. He saw Rashad Owens had some room, Sanders with a quick release and trigger. First down, Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're doing there. It's second and forever, and you're playing 12 yards off the football there in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. That's inexplicable. Either a bust by the defensive coordinator there and a call, or just simply on his part, just giving the receiver too much cushion. Great pitch and catch there by Spencer Sanders.
Sanders taking the snap with just a second to go, and Warren hopping up onto both feet. He knew he was close to breaking it.
Just tripped up, shoelace tackle there, or you're exactly right. There was nothing but the goalpost to hit his head on.
Chris Kleiman last year and this Kansas State team started hot, and then they just hit a brick wall because of COVID issues and injuries, and all mounted. Sputtered down the stretch. Finished 4-6 a year ago. A fresh start here in 2021. Just a first half that they have not been able to overcome on the road tonight. Warren driving hard, lowering those shoulder pads and his leverage. And this might be a spot where K-State's going to start thinking timeouts, and they do. Use their first timeout, stopping the clock with 2:17 to play. A couple of key completions on this drive. You gotta love seeing that. Gundy confidence with his 3-year starter, and Sanders to make the correct decision on those 2 completions.
Yeah, and I really think the one throw he made there to get the first down was maybe a kind of check with me when he saw the cushion that he was getting out there on the wide receiver position, because he rose right up and made the throw to get the first down. Yeah, when you talked about how defensively Kansas State has got them back in the game, it just hasn't been reciprocated. And it's got to be extremely hard because you're missing your starting quarterback. You've bounced back and forth between 2 of the quarterbacks tonight, and Will Howard and Lewis, and they just really haven't been able to find any kind of rhythm. And it's not necessarily their fault. Defensively, what Coach Knowles and this defense has been able to do is really made it difficult for Kansas State in their offense.
3rd down and 2. They will pull a lineman, and caping it and moving the chains for a first down is Sanders. K-State bid on the fake. Sanders able to sneak his way behind the right guard, Hunter Woodard, and a first down for the Cowboys. 3 critical first downs, and kind of talked about the execution. When do teams execute the critical junctures of a football game? And Oklahoma State found out a way to do it last week, and now on this drive really putting the icing on the cake tonight.
Yeah, when you're asked to do something in a position when everybody knows what you're going to do, in particular run the football to ice this away, you know, when you're able to get that done in the face of everything else, that's where you know you have a team that you can rely on late in games when you need it to happen.
You know, we've talked a lot about the offense, but let's talk Oklahoma State defense and what Jim Knowles has been able to do. He has a special group this year, even with the injury to Trey Sterling. If you could take an injury, it probably was in the secondary personnel because they are very deep. See what they've been able to do with their pass rush. Now we'll wait to see what the status is of Brock Martin. That's certainly a key cog for them up front. We saw him leave the game with what appeared to be an arm injury. You have Rodriguez and Devin Harper, the 2 linebackers. This is a formidable defense this season.
Yeah, and then Bernard Converse back there was tested all night long, and he simply just kept showing up with the answers to those tests. And they've been like stuck to the wide receivers for Kansas State, not given it any opportunity, which again allows for the likes of Malcolm Rodriguez and guys up front like Tyler Lacey and now Colin Oliver to get to the quarterback and make big plays, make it very difficult on an opposing team's quarterback.
They have held Deuce Vaughn, one of the more explosive backs in the country. 13 carries, 22 yards. Speaking of explosion, Jalen Warren becoming a household name here in the state of Oklahoma after his 2 weeks. He'll move the chains, and that should do it for the Cowboys.
I'll be honest, you know, you and I talked leading into this game, was a little surprised that Oklahoma State was such a favorite with the way that Kansas State had played. But when you talk about a team kind of being one-dimensional and not having the quarterback, we talked about how the experience of maybe Spencer Sanders could be the difference, and it certainly was tonight.
This crowd showing their appreciation. Mike Gundy guided the Cowboys to Big 12 title in 2011. They had a share of the Big 12 South the previous year in 2010. His team is going to be 4-0, and they are going to be ready to take on a red-hot Baylor team next week. What a matchup that's going to be.
Yes, it is. It's going to be special. Another battle of undefeated teams here in the Big 12. I will say this, right? You just said something about Mike Gundy, and that was 10 years ago. Oklahoma has dominated this conference for the last 6 years. They've been very good here in Stillwater. Can they make that next step? Can they take it to another level and get this team to a championship? It's a reason why he's still here. Let's see if they can get it done.
For the second straight week, all the Oklahoma State offense comes in the first half. 31 tonight as they opened up a huge lead, and they hold off Kansas State here in the Big 12 opener for both schools. 31-20, Cowboys prevail. Sanders 22 of 34 for 344 yards with 2 touchdown passes. Jalen Warren, a workhorse once again, 27 carries tonight. He carried the ball 32 times last week. 27 rushes, 123 yards. And then the X factor. They did not have Tay Martin last Friday night in the Northwest. They had him here tonight in Stillwater. 9 catches for 100 yards. So when you have your impact players doing their thing, this is an offense that's going to score points.
Yeah, and it didn't look like that for the first 3 weeks. So what Kansas State saw early on was kind of like a bombardment. They didn't really know how to react to it, and I think they got caught on their heels a little bit defensively. They were looking to try to stop the run. In the passing game with Spencer Sanders and the guys back, especially Tay Martin, made a huge difference in how this game went, especially in the first half. We saw more what Kansas State is capable of doing defensively in the second half, but you know, too little too late, because the offense could not churn enough yardage and get enough points to get them back in.
Spawn and the Wildcats will look to regroup next week. It won't be easy. Oklahoma will visit Manhattan, although they've had the Sooners number the last couple of years. They're 2-0 under Kleiman playing OU.
And we'll see what Oklahoma is going to be feeling like. They are in a dogfight with the Mountaineers in Norman, just about an hour and a half from here, tied 13-13 in the fourth quarter. Mountaineers look really good.
Well, let's check in with Shane Sparks. He's standing by with Spencer Sanders.
That was a very balanced.
We talked about it all week. You know, this is conference. We got to come out with some juice, and I feel like we did that, and I feel like we executed. I feel like everybody did, both sides, special teams and all.
Coach Gundy calls you the Tasmanian Devil, says offensive line injuries last year, no complaints. Wide receiver injuries a couple of weeks ago, no complaints. Speak to that mentality.
I'm going to do whatever I got to do to win, no matter what it is. I mean, my mother always told me one thing: you never quit once you start something. So I've kind of grown. This is my family here. I mean, whether they love it or they hate me, you know, I love it here and I love my teammates. So whatever I can do is what I'm going to do.
Off to a good 4-0 start. You got Baylor next week. What excites you most when you look at the rest of the season?
I'm excited. I'm excited. That's it. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm anxious and excited.
Congratulations. Good win tonight, Spencer.
Thank you.
Back to you, Sean.
Well, that could be scary for the rest of the Big 12. The Tasmanian Devil excited. Buckle up. It's going to be fun.
So they're kind of like Baker Mayfield waking up dangerous. You know, he's waking up excited.
Oklahoma State 4-0, 31-20. Your winners over Kansas State. Ryan Lee, Shane Sparks, our entire production crew. I'm Sean Kinney reminding you to catch more exciting Big 12 athletics right here on Big 12 Now and ESPN Plus with a pair of women's soccer games Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 Central as K-State takes on Texas Tech. Oklahoma State battling KU. That's the story. Good night from Stillwater.